In October of 2019, 19-year-old Aniah Blanchard was living the life of a typical college student. A passionate athlete and loving daughter, Aniah had her whole future ahead of her. But one seemingly ordinary trip to a gas station late at night would change everything. What started as a common stop soon turned into a nightmare. Aniah vanished without a trace, leading to a frantic search. Days later, her car was found abandoned, and evidence inside pointed to a disturbing reality. But who could have wanted to harm her, and why? Could this all have been prevented? And more chillingly, was a violent predator walking free in plain sight? So grab yourself a cup of courage as we delve into the tragic case of Aniah Blanchard, a young woman whose bright future was taken far too soon, leaving behind a trail of questions and sorrow. But before that, this channel is all about true crime, brutal stories, and chilling mysteries. So if that is something that interests you, please consider subscribing to support us so you can doom scroll crime every week. The girl who was special to everyone in the town of Homewood, Alabama, was Aniah Blanchard. No one could have ever imagined that something so tragic would happen to her. She was full of life, but in an instant, everything changed. What happened to Aniah, and who is responsible for her death? Let's delve deeper, but first, get to know about Aniah Blanchard. Aniah Haley Blanchard, who grew up in Homewood, Alabama, was the glue that kept her family so happy and strong. She had a motherly instinct from a young age that she inherited after watching her mother, Angela Harris, serve as a nurse. Aniah was also close to her father, Elijah Blanchard Sr., who was a businessman and a local pastor, and he remained a strong presence throughout her life, even though her parents divorced in 2004. As for her older brother, Elijah Blanchard Jr., they were nearly inseparable. "We grew up 17 months apart. We were always together, and she even followed me to college," he said. She was a dedicated student and athlete who graduated from Homewood High School, where her love for softball made her go far. It is practically local folklore that after every school softball game, Aniah invited the opposing team to join hers on the pitcher's mound to share high fives and the Lord's Prayer. And even if we lost, the other team lost, no matter what, no hard feelings. "I think that was her whole thing. This is a way to connect people," said her friend. At the time of her tragic death, she was just 19 and was pursuing a degree in early childhood education at Southern Union State Community College and had plans to transfer to Auburn University to further her studies. Her mother, Angela, met a well-known heavyweight mixed martial arts fighter, Walt Harris, in 2003. The couple tied the knot and eventually welcomed 2 younger children into their family. He says Aniah constantly inspired him. "After wins, we celebrate. If it is a loss, she would always pick me up. And she was always that rock, that voice that kept me going," said Walt Harris. "I didn't ever call them stepkids. They were my children. It's just the way I saw it, you know. I loved them like my own. They loved me like they knew me their whole lives. We just felt like a little family," said Walt Harris. Not only that, but Aniah thrived as an older sister. She took on the motherly role, making sure her younger brother and sister brushed their teeth before bed and cared for them, as her mother spent long hours behind hospital doors during her shifts. "It was me and Aniah. She helped me basically raise her little brother and sister," recalled Walt Harris. Aniah's kindness showered those around her with a sense of love and peace. But her level of protection for friends and family also produced an immense amount of comfort. If you needed any type of advice, help, or protection, Aniah was also the force to call. So, how could someone who meant so much to so many simply vanish without a trace? Blanchard's roommate, Sarah O'Brien, later revealed that one of Blanchard's biggest fears was being kidnapped or murdered. "Like as soon as she walked in, she would check every room," O'Brien said. "She would tell me multiple times, like she had nightmares about it happening to her." Little did she know that this would become her reality. On the evening of October 23, 2019, at around 11 p.m., Aniah Blanchard was in good spirits as she dropped her brother, Elijah, off at his home in Auburn, Alabama. Both were college students, living just 10 minutes apart, leading busy lives like normal teenagers do, filled with classes, friends, and dreams for the future. However, just moments later, at 11:09 p.m., Aniah's friend and roommate, Sarah O'Brien, anxiously awaited her return home. Sarah sent a message asking, "Are you almost home?" Aniah responded with a simple, "Yeah." However, little did Sarah know that everything was going to shatter. As the clock ticked, 30 minutes passed without any sign of Aniah. Sarah's worry grew, prompting her to reach out again at 11:38 p.m. "Did you go out without me?" she messaged again. "I'm smoking a blunt, LOL." It was the word blunt, Sarah says, that stopped her. She had never heard Aniah use it. When asked whom she was smoking with, Aniah replied that she was with a man named Eric, someone she had just met. Using a shared phone location feature, Sarah tracked Aniah's whereabouts, assuming she was enjoying a casual night with friends at a nearby apartment complex filled with fellow college students. However, it would later be revealed on June 3, 2020. Auburn Police Detective Josh Mixon testified at a preliminary hearing that Aniah's phone had died or been powered off near the Clarion Inn on South College Street. When the sun rose on October 24, 2019, Angela Harris took her children to school and reached out to Aniah to talk. It was their early morning ritual. "So, when I called her at 8 a.m. and she didn't answer FaceTime, I thought, okay, well, she's busy, so I'll give her a little bit longer," told her mom. Sarah was eager to hear about Eric, the mystery man Aniah met the night before. She went straight to Aniah's bedroom, and she wasn't there. She would always come home. She wouldn't spend the night with anyone she had just met, told Sarah. Sarah glanced at her cell phone, looking for Aniah's latest location, but there was none. Aniah's phone had gone dark. Concerned, Sarah reached out to Elijah, who quickly contacted Karina Thomas, the woman for whom Aniah babysat. To Elijah's alarm, Karina informed him that Aniah hadn't shown up for work that day. "She was like a mother to my kids." Karina Thomas, the working mother who depended on Aniah, said she was the most reliable nanny she ever had. "And my heart kinda just sank. And this was completely out of her character. This isn't Aniah. Aniah wouldn't have run away. So immediately, I call my parents. And I was like, Aniah's missing," told Elijah. With a heavy heart, Elijah called their mother, Angela Harris, and stepfather, Walt Harris, to tell them the unsettling news. Without hesitation, they rushed to Auburn, desperate to find their daughter, while they also reported her missing. The family knew something was seriously wrong when they realized that Aniah had left her beloved dog, Blue, alone overnight. Angela knew this behavior was out of character for her daughter. Blue was like a child to Aniah, and she would never willingly abandon him. That was her baby. "We just knew when we got to her apartment that, wait, there's something really bad wrong here," said her mother, Angela. This, from the very beginning, felt very differently, based on the information we had. It just didn't feel like this was a college student who decided to leave and blow off some steam. That just wasn't her personality. That's just not something she would have done, said the former DA. Aniah's disappearance was breaking news. From the moment they arrived in Auburn, Angela and Walt were on a frantic search, driving around the area, checking yards, and pleading for any information. They utilized social media and television, urging the community to help find Aniah. The response was overwhelming. People organized searches and vigils, showing the power of a community rallying together in times of crisis. By October 30th, a task force of several law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences, was formed. On October 31st, 2019, a reward for information on Aniah's whereabouts reached $105,000. Those funds included donations from Walt's supporters in the UFC, including President Dana White and light heavyweight fighter John Jones. Each contributed $25,000. It's a pain, it's an anxiety, it's just so many emotions. You're trying to hold hope that something positive is going to come out of it. But as the days go on, your hope just starts to dwindle and dwindle, said Walt Harris. Just when hope seems dim, a shocking discovery comes to light. Surveillance footage and the discovery of Aniah's car. On October 25th, 2019, the search for Aniah Blanchard took a grim turn when her abandoned, a black 2017 Honda CR-V was discovered about 55 miles from Auburn, which police reported had seemed to be in disarray at an apartment complex in Montgomery, Alabama. The scene inside the vehicle was evidence suggesting Aniah had suffered a life-threatening injury. With blood found in the front passenger seat, confirmed to be hers by forensic experts, the investigation began to deal with signs of foul play. A bullet hole in the passenger's side door and shell casings in the left cup holder further were also seen, while there was a lingering scent of cleaning solution. But nothing anyone did led to an Aniah sighting. Then, a few days after she disappeared, police discovered that after Aniah dropped off her brother, she stopped at a gas station just 2 minutes from her home. Then, on October 28, 2019, police released surveillance images of Aniah from the night she vanished. Captured at a convenience store just 2 minutes from her apartment, she was seen buying a bag of sour cream and onion potato chips and a drink at 11:21 p.m. on October 23rd. That was her thing every night, even at home. Growing up, she would snack right before bed, recalled her mom. However, this footage would become crucial in piecing together the final hours of her life. On November 6th was a lucky day when the Auburn Police Department made a breakthrough by releasing a video of a person of interest. The next day, authorities identified this individual as Ibrahim Yazid, a 29-year-old from Montgomery. So who was he? And did he have a direct connection with Aniah and her disappearance? Surveillance video showed that Ibrahim Yazid was in the store at the same time as Blanchard. He is seen buying alcohol and a cigar and looking in Blanchard's direction. He was also captured exiting the passenger side of Blanchard's vehicle. Surveillance video from another gas station showed him re-entering the passenger's side of her car. Blanchard and Yazid are then seen leaving the station together. In addition to surveillance footage, a witness allegedly saw Blanchard and Yazid interacting outside the store near her car. The witness also claimed to have seen Yazid force her into the car and then leave with her in the vehicle. According to detectives, the witness told a companion about the event, but was told to mind his business. Yazid allegedly told another witness that he had Blanchard's vehicle, but would not allow the witness to see Blanchard at that time. The witness also claims that Yazid said he shot a girl after she went for the gun. At the time of Blanchard's death, Yazid was free on a $295,000 bond and had been staying in a hotel near the Chevron gas station, having been charged with possession of marijuana, robbery, kidnapping, and attempted murder. Those charges were connected to an alleged crime in January 2019, during which 4 assailants robbed and beat 2 men in a hotel in Montgomery. One of the victims, a 77-year-old man, was reportedly left unconscious, unresponsive, severely injured, and near death. The suspect is also accused of attempting to kill 2 police officers in 2012 by ramming his car into theirs, and was arrested in 2017 for aggravated battery on a police officer. In June 2020, Yazid was charged with the 2018 murder of Stephen Hamby. He was also charged with the attempted murder of a woman who was shot in the face during the incident in which Hamby was killed. As for Aniah's family, anger. I remember shaking. I wanted to climb across the barricade. It made me really angry, because he was just kind of smug. Like, you're tough, I'm tough too. Like he was challenging me almost, said Walt Harris. It took all of Walt's training in the ring and Angela's steady hand to keep him from ripping into Yazid when they first saw him in court. However, he maintained his innocence. On November 25th, human remains were found in Macon County, in the woods off County Road 2. Investigators discovered a skull, which appeared to have a bullet hole in the top. Investigators aren't certain how Yazid ended up inside the car with Aniah. Did he ask for a ride? Did he force her? But the damage outside suggests there was a struggle at some point as the car was moving. Investigators say Yazid shot Aniah as she tried to escape. Along with the remains was clothing similar to what Blanchard had last been seen wearing, as well as a lead projectile. Obviously, we didn't know to 100% certainty that that's who it was. There were several items of clothing out there. I saw a boot. I took a photograph of it, told the former DA. The Sorel boots were a gift from Walt when the family visited New York City. When he showed it to Walt, Walt looked at the phone. He just drops it on the table and said, "Y'all excuse me." My wife had come up there. She was coming up the back stairwell. She said she saw Walt just punching the wall. I mean, this is a concrete wall. He's screaming and just punching this wall. That's hard crying, recalled the former DA. On November 27th, the remains were identified as Blanchard's. An autopsy determined that Blanchard was killed by a gunshot wound. On November 7th, an arrest warrant was issued for Yazid on suspicion of first-degree kidnapping, following a crucial tip that directed police to Pensacola, Florida. There, the Florida Regional Fugitive Task Force tracked him down near the Pine Forest Road exit of Interstate 10. When officers confronted him, Yazid fled on foot, ignoring verbal commands, which forced the team to physically remove him from his hiding place. He was then taken to the Escambia County Jail and agreed to be extradited back to Alabama, where he had remained in Lee County Jail without bond. Due to threats against his life, he was placed in solitary confinement. A judge found sufficient probable cause for grand jury hearings and issued a gag order restricting communication about the case from attorneys, prosecutors, and witnesses. On November 22nd, police apprehended Antwain "Squirmy" Fisher, accusing him of disposing of evidence and providing transportation for Yazid. Fisher, who had previously served 3 years for his involvement in a drug deal-related murder, saw his charges later dismissed. The district attorney noted that Fisher's actions did not meet the legal standards for accomplice liability. In June 2020, Fisher revealed to investigators that on October 24, 2019, he had seen Yazid at David Johnson Sr.'s home around dawn, where Yazid asked him for gas for Blanchard's vehicle. After obtaining gas, they traveled north on Interstate 85, where Yazid allegedly acquired an assault rifle and later stopped at a cemetery. There, Fisher claimed he witnessed Yazid dragging what looked like 2 legs wrapped in a comforter. When confronted, Yazid ominously reassured him that it won't come back on you and your family. Following the discovery of Aniah's remains, Yazid's charges escalated from first-degree kidnapping to capital murder. Yazid faces 3 counts of capital murder for murdering Aniah. The indictment alleges that he fatally shot the 19-year-old Alabama college student during an attempted kidnapping and robbery incident. He was trying to rob her of her cell phone and vehicle. Per the indictment, Ibrahim Yazid faces 1 count of capital murder during a kidnapping in the first degree, 1 count of capital murder during a robbery in the first degree, and 1 count of capital murder involving a victim in a vehicle. He has pleaded not guilty to all 3 capital murder counts. As per the indictment cited by the Attorney General's office, Yazid did intentionally cause the death of Blanchard by shooting her with a gun during the course of abducting her and robbing her of a vehicle and cell phone, according to the release. Authorities suspect Yazid killed Blanchard while she was inside her car. The district attorney's office also pursued the death penalty. Preliminary hearings faced delays due to COVID-19, but eventually took place in June, where Auburn police detective Josh Mixon testified. The defense contested the claim that the crime occurred in Lee County, but the judge found enough evidence to proceed to a grand jury. In a separate incident in March, Yazid was charged with second-degree assault after allegedly attacking several corrections officers while in custody. Ibrahim Yazid is now awaiting trial at the Lee County Detention Center and will appear in Macon County Circuit Court in spring 2025. If convicted, Yazid faces the death penalty, or a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole, for each of the 3 charges of capital murder. Walt, who had considered ending his career, found inspiration when Aniah came to him in a dream. She was sitting in her living room, and there was just a beam of light on her, and she had her arms out, and I hugged her, and she said, "Keep going." And I just woke up. Like with a renewed vigor, I felt fresh, said Walt Harris. Inspired by Aniah, Walt Harris bravely returned to the ring. Incredibly, a fight was scheduled for October 24th, the anniversary of Aniah's murder. And through all of her pain, Angela found her new calling. She started a nonprofit, Aniah's Heart, to teach safety and help search for missing people. Her death also led to the creation of Aniah's Law, which reforms Alabama's bail laws since her accused killer, Ibrahim Yazid, had been free on bail when Aniah was murdered. Alabama's constitution guarantees the right to bail for all defendants, except those charged with capital offenses. In June 2021, Governor Kay Ivey signed Aniah's Law. Aniah Law, House Bill 81, was passed by Alabama voters. A scholarship in Blanchard's memory has been established by Homewood Public Schools. In June 2020, a bench at the Patriot Park in Homewood was dedicated to her. December 21st, 2019, will be forever known as Aniah Haley Blanchard Day in the city of Homewood, Alabama. Thank you for watching. The tragic loss of Aniah Blanchard is a reminder of how quickly life can change and how deeply violence can impact our communities. Her bright future was stolen, leaving behind grief, unanswered questions, and a fight for justice. As we remember Aniah, let's remain vigilant and push for change. If this story impacted you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more detailed dives into true crime mysteries. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.